This is culturally inappropriate.
Three, two, one. I'm in love. Round and round I go. Out of control. I'm in love. I'm in love. Yeah. Round and round I go. Out of control, I'm in love. Hey, yo, welcome back to another episode of the Arts Block Podcast. I mean, that's what we call this thing, right? I'm your host, Eric Curry the third. Welcome, y'all. Look so good, smell so good, look great. I'm gonna say this every pod. When you watch this pod, I need you to have your good scent on. Good cologne, whatever your good cologne, good perfume is, I need you to have that on while watching this, please. And thank you. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, man. I'm your host, Eric Curry III. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can be notified every time we post a podcast that is on YouTube. If you are listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, please give me a 5-star and a review. Just say that you love this podcast so much. Say that this is the greatest podcast you have ever heard in your life, and that will suffice. All right, what are we talking about today? Because this is a podcast. At the end of the day, we gotta talk about something. What you talking about? We ain't talking about nothing. We have a great. I have a great little lineup for y'all today. Y'all ready? Boom. First thing we talking about late registration. We're going to talk about college. It's about to be college season. It's back to school season right now. A lot of y'all are going back to school or about to go back to school. Some of y'all might have kids that's finna go back to school. So we're going to just talk about college a little bit. With our last topic of the day, we're going to talk about vision. We're going to talk about goals. We're going to talk about the vision I have for this pod, how what I want y'all to take away from all of this that I've been saying to y'all. And the main topic of the day, the meat and potatoes of today, is the 3% rule. So this is going to be a great pod for y'all today. Make sure you sit back, relax, enjoy, have your snacks, have everything you need, because this is going to be a ride, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Is there any announcements that I have for y'all? Oh my goodness. Actually, I don't even think I can announce that yet. So never mind. I don't think there's any announcements for y'all, but there will be an announcement soon. Trust, I promise. All right. First thing on the docket, late registration, man. Listen, I have been seeing a lot of people, a lot of people, too many people to count. Too many people to count. Like y'all are what's the word I'm looking for? Like something y'all are like basing your intelligence. That's not the word, but that's the word I can think of. Y'all are basing y'all's intelligence or how smart y'all are based off of if you have a college degree or not. Now, a lot of y'all are looking like, hey, I have a college degree. I know I'm intelligent, X, Y, and Z. I worked hard for my college degree, da 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 da. And I'm not saying that you aren't intelligent in one aspect, but I am saying that you could also be an idiot with a degree. you you could be an idiot with a degree just because you have a college. I hate college education conversations because you are truly just an idiot with a degree. If I have to be honest, and this thought process stemmed from videos I've been seeing. If I didn't make that clear, I've been seeing a lot of these stem from videos that I see. I'm chronically online, and it's a problem. I know, but if I'm not chronically online, I can't give these pods to y'all. So hey, it's a double-edged sword. Listen. I I I watch these videos and people be like saying the most stupid things, and then they be like, "Well, I have a college education to like back up the claim of the stupidity that they say," and all I have to say is that no, you are just an idiot with a college degree. You are just an idiot with a college degree. And quite frankly, if you have ever been to college, I'm a current college student. I'm a college student today, currently. I'm about to go back to New York to school in a couple of weeks. And I can say this college, it is not that difficult to get your college degree. It is not that difficult. All you have to do is just try. And you don't even have to try a lot. You can just try a little bit and get your college degree. You don't even I know people right now that went to class sometimes, got okay grades, and graduated with their college degree in whatever they was graduating in. You don't need to be, just because you got your college degree, for me personally, that doesn't prove that you are more or less intelligent than the next person. So why are we using degrees? Why are we using all of these things as a metric of intelligence? A lot of people with college, I know people right now who are in college right now studying, who lack basic comprehension skills. I currently, right now, as I'm speaking to y'all, there are people in college classrooms that are lacking basic reading comprehension skills. Basic, like grade level, like kindergarten, school, like elementary school level reading skills, right? And before we go on any further, I do want to give y'all the definition of intelligence that I am currently working with, right? So this is the definition of intelligence that I am speaking of. This is according to Webster Dictionary. So if you got beef with this definition, take it up with Webster. The ability to apply knowledge to manipulate one's environment or to think abstractly as measured by objective criteria such as test. So that's the definition of intelligence that we are working with right here, right? We are working with the ability to apply knowledge to manipulate one's environment. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the ability to learn or understand. We're talking about the ability to apply knowledge, the application of knowledge, right? Cool. It's one thing to learn something. It's another thing to know how to apply that something. And that's where the intelligence is lacking for me. You all are great learners. Y'all are great learners, masterful learners, but you all suck at applying what you learned. So you can say you went to school for however many years, got your bachelor's, got your master's, got your doctorate, got your, I don't care what you get. You can get it all for all I care. But I will say that as you are getting these degrees, how much of this information are you actually retaining, or how much are you just saying that, oh, I got my college degree, woo, 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 right? There are life lessons in there are life lessons that a college classroom just can't teach you. And I hate to be the one to tell you this, right? There are life lessons that a college classroom can't teach you. For example, there no college classroom can teach me not to drink at a work event, because I was in rooms with people, and I just so happened to be in rooms with people, with bosses and CEOs who said they have seen people get drunk at work events and they fired them at that instant. College didn't teach me that. Going to college didn't teach me that. Or going to college didn't teach me that actually I can't say that on here. I can't say that on here. I don't know who's watching. I might incriminate myself. Let me just stop while I'm ahead. There are some life lessons that you cannot learn in college. Now and also a lot of life lessons you learned happened in college, not because of college. It happened because you went away. It didn't, a lot of the life lessons that you learned didn't happen because of college itself, because of the actual classroom and school environment. It happened because you left. You went away from home. You weren't living with your parents no more. So you got to make mistakes. You got to mess up. You got to fall. You got to do a whole bunch of stuff. So whether you were in college or not, if you just left home, a lot of the things that you fail on would have happened anyway, because that's just a part of life and growing up and becoming your own person or doing whatever, right? So to end off this section, because we have a lot to get to. Not intelligence is a spectrum. Intelligence is a spectrum. And the spectrum of intelligence is, there's different subsections in that spectrum, right? So intelligence is a long spectrum, and within that spectrum is different subcategories. It's, hey, you got book smarts, you got street smarts, you got wisdom, because wisdom is intelligence, right? You might have, knowing how to build stuff. A whole bunch of different subsections of intelligence. But everybody thinks since you got your degree, you know everything. Since you got your degree and you think you know everything, you don't. See, that's one thing about Precious that I love. That's one thing Monique did right in Precious. Since you got your degree and you know everything, you don't. You don't know everything, babe. I understand you got your degree, you're a college educated student, but you still sound stupid online. You're making other college educated students sound dumb. You are making other college educated people sound dumb or look dumb because now people are like, well, you got a college education, but you still saying this nonsense. Stop relying on your stop relying on your college degree to for you to stop learning things. You should always be constantly learning. Knowledge is power. Learning is a skill that should be forever explored. You should forever explore the skill of learning. Because when you stop learning, you stop growing. When you stop learning how to do stuff, your growth stunts. And when you stop growing, you're pretty much dead. So stop for a second. Stop being like, I'm a college educated, da 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 da. I have my degree in such and such and such, so I'm qualified to speak in such and such and such. You just sound like an idiot with a degree. you, sound, you sound like an idiot with a degree. I'm sorry. Somebody has to tell you this. And I don't know whether to blame you or your institution. And I hate to blame the student, so I will always blame the institution. It's not even your fault. Your institution had a quota to make, and they gave you a degree. And now you out here saying this is my alma mater, and you sound stupid. It's okay. I'm here for you. This is a safe space. Let it out. Next thing on the docket, here's the important stuff, man. Enough of that. What's important? The 3% rule. I was about to say the rule of threes. That's a film thing. The 3% rule. A lot of y'all are gonna hate me for this. It's okay though. I'm ready to be hated. Virgil Abloh, if you don't know who Virgil is one or was one of the most genius artists and designers ever, right? Virgil was the face of Off-White. He was the face of Louis Vuitton Men. Virgil designed some of your favorite album covers. Virgil, excuse me, Virgil, some of your favorite sneakers that you have seen, Virgil has either designed or helped design. So like Virgil has a huge place in culture, right? Virgil will forever be stamped and cemented in culture for forever, right? That's not debatable. That's not up for debate. Unfortunately, Virgil passed away, I think in 2020, 2021, something around there. For reasons I don't know. Look it up. So yeah, Virgil legend for sure. And Virgil has this thing called the 3% rule, or had this thing called the 3% rule. And the 3% rule is basically like this. Take something that is already popular, and it has to do with fashion, right? So this aspect we're talking about fashion mostly. Take something that's already popular. So take a fashion, popular hoodie, popular shoes, popular outfits, popular styles that are going around, right? And tweak it by 3%. So you can make it your own and it can be somewhat different. So if you take something that's already popular, so take what's popular right now? Kind of like take like the loafer schoolboy schoolgirl type of deal going on right now, right? That's kind of popping right now. Take that. If you take that and if you take that and tweak it by 3% and make it your own, that's basically the 3% rule, right? Taking something popular, tweaking it just by a little bit. Cool. Now that we got that out the way, you boys took the 3% rule, and whether you know it or not, you do the 3% rule. Whether you know it or not, you do it. Whether you know it or not, you boys took the 3% rule and ran with it. Boy, you all look like Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, Derrick Henry. The way y'all boys running with that 3% rule. Is that Saquon Barkley? Y'all are running with that 3% rule, boy. And I'm saying Yeah, the problem is one of the main problems with this 3% rule thing, and I'm gonna get to all the problems I have with it and kind of debunk it, and we're gonna end off this very nicely, but it's gonna start off a little rough. The problem that I have with the 3% rule or just any rules in art, fashion, music in general is that you need someone to tell you when enough is enough, right? You need someone to tell you when enough is enough. When you all run with a rule like the 3% rule, which is something that works and has worked, that's why Virgil said it. But when you run it down the mud and you run it down like, and you run it out so much, you all don't really know where to stop. And when you all don't stop, that's when the market becomes that. And when the market becomes that, y'all are messing up the market. Oh, I want to say another word. Y'all are messing up the market bad. Y'all don't know when enough is enough. Listen, you all aren't really self-reliant. That's an issue. You all aren't self-reliant. You can't look at yourself and be like, this is cool. You can't just look at something and be like, this is cool. You aren't self reliant. You are reliant on influence. You rely on somebody else's ideas, thoughts, and influence to influence what you do and your next move. And then you're like, okay, well, 3% rule or 5%, or, I'm just going to tweak it a little bit and add my little splash on it. But in reality, it's not really your splash. It's not really yours. It's just whoever influenced you splash, right? Does that make sense? So you all are taking this 3% rule, which is a fire rule that people should follow, and you're taking it and you're running with it. You're taking it and you're running with it. And you're going far and far and far and far and far, and it's not okay, right? But another thing with that 3% rule is, while I do say it's a great rule, it was a fire rule for when Virgil said it. Also, I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but that's okay. Sometimes your favorite artist or sometimes the best artist give bad advice for up and coming artists. I know I gave y'all that little dramatic pause. I had to wait for it. A lot of times artists give really bad advice to up and coming artists. 8 times out of 10, when I hear artists talk, it's usually something hella generic. Keep trying, keep grinding. Things are going to work out. If it worked out for me, it's going to work out for you. Don't let nobody, crush your dreams. Your dreams are real, right? All that generic BS that they just throw and spew at you at every interview, right? Oh, just create stuff. Do the things. So sometimes it's super generic and it's not specific enough to a person or a situation to where it doesn't sit or resonate. It almost feels like it feels kind of redundant in a sense. It almost, okay, it's like everybody's telling me to keep going, to continue to keep pushing X, Y, and Z, but y'all don't really know how hard it is right now for me. Y'all don't know how difficult it is right now. Y'all, everybody's saying, oh no, just keep going, just put it out, it's going to work eventually, but it's 30 people that failed. So how do you know it's going to work eventually when 30 people have failed? When I'm watching people day in and day out quit, how y'all going to say it works for me? So sometimes the advice is too generic. But then again, sometimes the advice is too specific. Like the 3% rule. Where do you even get 3% from? Why specifically 3%? If it's 5, is it too much? 6 is a little pushing it. 2 isn't enough. 3 is perfect. That's very specific advice. 3% rule works for certain people who have that certain. The 3% rule works for people like Wisdom K in fashion. Wisdom K can do the 3% rule. A lot of y'all don't dress well enough to do the 3% rule. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all don't dress well enough. Y'all don't dress well enough to do the 3% rule. Y'all need to make your own rules up. That's it. You need to make your own rules up. Advice can, like, Established artists oftentimes can forget what it's like to be hungry. When they've been eating for so long, sometimes they forget what it's like to be hungry until they're hungry again. They forget what it's like to have hunger. They forget what it's like to have drive. They forget what it's like to really, really want something, really need something. They forget what that feeling is like until they're hungry again, which, depending on the level of artist you are, you won't be there ever again. So a lot of times their advice doesn't resonate. Example, right? 3% rule is used to make sure that you do something different to incorporate who you are. 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 Who are you? You don't know. See, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Who are you? You don't know. And I shouldn't say that's a problem. That's okay. That's okay. But don't see, and this is about see and listen. The advice that you should be getting is find out who you are. Explore yourself, explore the world, find out the things that you like. And as you are finding out things that you like, find out what you want to do about, find out what you want to do surrounding the things that you like. That's how you're going to stay true to yourself. That's how you're going to find out who you are. That's how you're going to find style. That's how you're going to find swag. That's how you're going to, not the 3% rule, not, oh, look at something popular. Look at something that's already popping and just change it just a little bit. No. Who are you? Do something that only you can do. What's the what I I don't think that's cool. I personally I don't think that's very cool of anybody, quite frankly, to just take something that's popular and just tweak it a little bit. Right? Unless like you're unless you're like sampling a song, unless you're like taking a song and you're making it into your own, it's a whole new thing, right? But if you're taking a song and only adding a kick to the song and that's it, and you're like, oh, I just sampled this song and all you added was a little measly ass kick to it, you didn't change the song. If you found an outfit on Pinterest and all you did was add a little chain, the little chain to the outfit on Pinterest, you did not make the outfit your own. You just took an outfit and added a chain to it. That is not what that is. A lot of y'all are just running with things, and a lot of y'all just running with things and don't even know what these things mean. But y'all are listening to people who have forgotten what it's like to be in your shoes, who have forgotten what it's like, who aren't humble enough to sit and reflect and remember, dang, I remember what it's like when I had X, Y, and Z. They don't do that often enough to be able to give advice. So every time you ask for advice, they just give you some generic ass advice, but they don't give nothing super specific because they forget where they were. They don't remember where they were. They don't remember. They don't remember. They don't remember the nights where they couldn't afford to go to Nobu. They don't remember those nights. Or if they do remember those nights, they don't reflect back to those nights enough to understand where young, striving, and hungry artists are coming from. They don't think back to those nights. They don't think back to those late night studio sessions. They don't think back to those late night sewing sessions. They don't think back to when you're drawing 1,000 paintings and you ripped up 999 pieces of paper because you just couldn't get that one line right. They don't know. They don't know. They forgot. They reached a certain level of success, and they don't and they forgot, which isn't a bad thing. That's the level of success that we're all trying to reach. Quite frankly, I know I'm trying to reach that level of success. But one thing I don't want to do is ever forget this moment. I don't want to forget potting in my bed in my parents' room, in my parents' house. I don't want to forget that. I don't want to forget what it was like to move out of my childhood home into my aunt's crib. I don't want to forget that. I don't want to forget what it's like my first couple months in college where I was depressed and I wanted to leave New York City. I don't want to forget that because once I forget that and once that part of me leaves, I feel like I'm going to become less relatable to you all. I feel like the relatability just isn't going to be there. I feel like it's not going to be the same. I feel like there's going to be a forever disconnect between you and me if I forget those. I feel like if I'm not able to spit truth, if I'm not able to spit authenticity, if I'm not able to help you grind and strive and build and inspire, if I'm not able to do that, then I have missed the point of all of this. I've missed the point. Let me get back on track. Let me get back on track. Let me finish this thought, then we're going to continue. To end this off, being different is cool until it's different. And this isn't me, and I know we're talking to say, oh, he's trashing the 3% rule. I'm not. But what I'm saying is being different is cool until it's different. Truly being different and outside of the box is frowned upon. That's frowned upon. Like being truly different is frowned upon. Truly liking something that's out of the norm, out of the ordinary is frowned upon. But if you are different within the box. So if you are different, if say you're in a box, right, with 100 people and 99 people are in one corner of the box, but you decide to go explore the other corner of the box, you are now deemed cool. You are deemed that is cool because you are different, but you weren't too different. You weren't outside the box different. You were inside of the box different. So we're going to allow you to be different. For example, right? People who want to get their brand and stuff popping on social media. Cool. We're going to be inside of the box within the social media realm, but we're going to do something different within that box. So while everybody's over here, we're going to go over here within that same box. Instead of getting outside of the box and going to different people on the street, interacting with people in person, handing people your CD. Nobody does CD anymore. I'm saying handing people your CD. What the fuck am I talking about? But that premise though, like the premise stays the same. Like the premise doesn't change. You want to stay inside of the box because it's comfortable. You don't want to explore what's outside of the box. That's why things like the 3% rule are cool for you all because you get to stay outside of the box, but just go in different corners of the box and try different things out. Instead of just going outside of the box, trying something and just seeing if you like it. We are in a culture where um genuine difference is being punished. People who are different, people who are truly different, people who don't want to do the same thing as everybody else, people who see patterns and see people wear the same things over and over and over and say the same things over and over and over and all of that stuff, they are being punished. They are being punished for wanting to be different. However, we reward mediocrity in the name of it being different when reality is just the 3% rule. Don't let mediocrity fool you. I feel like I keep saying this on the pod. Don't let mediocrity fool you. Don't let rules or boxes, don't let all of that stuff fool you. Be free to explore. Be free to be different. You listen to people like Virgil. You listen to people like Tyler. You listen to people like whoever. The key success of these people that you are listening to that are also giving you advice, the real key to their success is that they weren't scared to do different things. They weren't scared to think outside of the box. They weren't scared to let go. They weren't scared to figure things out. They weren't scared to fail. They weren't scared to try. They weren't scared to do any of that stuff. You can't be scared. Michael Beasley said something the other day on a podcast. I saw Michael Beasley say something and he was like, "Listen, I was always scared. I was just too scared to tell y'all I was scared." It's okay to be scared to go out the box. It's okay to be scared. However, what's not okay is just not doing it and being paralyzed by fear. So that goes back to what we were saying last week, what I was saying last week about being paralyzed by perfection. But now y'all can also be paralyzed by fear, which both of those things, now that I'm thinking about it, go hand in hand. Being paralyzed by perfection is also being paralyzed by fear, because the reason you want something to be so perfect is because you're scared that if it is not, people aren't going to receive it in a certain way. Jeez, boy. Jeez. Listen, man, last thing on the docket, kind of tying a bow on this whole thing. Vision. Vision is super important. The goal of this podcast is for you to not listen to this and say you want to be me. If you listen to this pod and your first instinct is I want to be like Eric Curry III, I failed as a podcaster. I failed. Everything that I've done for this, everything that I stood for this, I failed. If you listen to this and you think, oh man, I want to do what Eric does or has done, I've failed. Everything about this should scream, I want to be the best me that I possibly can be. Everything about this. Everything about this should scream, I want to see me be the best me. But none of this should ever say, I want to be Eric Curry III. Those are words I don't want to hear you say. I don't want to hear you say, I want to be Eric Curry III. I don't want to hear you say, I want to be anybody except yourself. When you consume art that you like, you should be inspired to find whatever that is within yourself. So whatever that is that inspired you, you should be eager, hungry, willing, waiting to find whatever that is in yourself and your art. That's it. That's as simple as I can put it. You should be waiting to find whatever that is within yourself. Your favorite artist in the world create out of extension from themselves. They don't create out of anything else. They create from their POV, from their point of view, from their perspective of the world. That's where they create from. They're not creating from any other place. They can't. It's impossible. They're creating from what they see is true in the world. That's what they're creating from. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this last gem. I was talking to a friend, and he was telling me just about art and like putting the art out, and he seen one of my clips on Instagram, and we got into a conversation, and he was like, man, like, I'm just trying to like put out this art, and everybody's telling me all these different things. I don't really know what to do. Da da da. And I told him this. I was like, man, we create art that we like for other people. That's the trick. He's a photographer. So I was telling him, you take pictures that you like in places that you like, with people that you like, with lighting that you like, with the camera that you like. But you give it to other people. Some people may like it. Some people might not like it. That is how you create. That is the recipe that nobody else tells anybody else. Nobody else tells anybody else that recipe. When you create something, you're creating something that you like for other people. So it shouldn't matter if anybody else likes it or not, because you like it. However, it also matters that you don't hold on to it because it's not for you. It's for the greater good. Any gift that God has given you, it's never for you. I'm shocker, spoiler alert. Anything that God has ever given you, any gift, any talent, it's not for you. It's not for you to just hog it and keep it. It's not for you to know. It's for the betterment of his kingdom. It's for the betterment of the world. So people can be inspired by that. Whatever your skill is, whatever it is that you like, whatever your point of view is, don't hide that from the world because it's different. Don't hide that from the world because it's something that I don't do. There's only one of me. There's only one of you. There's only one of everybody here. Your perspective and point of view matters. It matters because guess what? That might be a side, a story, a point of view that I've never heard before, or that I have never been in contact with before, or that I will never be in contact with. So the fact that I'm able to hear your perspective and hear your point of view is huge for me. However, don't crush that. Don't hide that out of the thought of, well, this might be different. Different is good. Outside of the box is good. You never know what's outside of the box until you step out there. So guess what? Go. Thank y'all so much for tuning into another episode of the Arts Block Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Curry III. Before we get on out of here, I will get y'all my Dead or Alive. Now, Dead or Alive is a segment on the pod where me or the artist gets to choose other artists that we would like to work with that is dead or alive. We can choose one artist, we can choose 100 artists. This is my pod. I'm gonna do whatever I want. As I was talking, I was thinking of the clips. I'm about to go see them on the 9th. I'm excited. On Saturday, I'm about to go see the clips. So yeah, I'm a clips. I'm excited. And yeah, clips. Stove God. Clips Stove God. Let's do that. FICO. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Arts Block Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Curry III. You can follow me on Instagram at Eric Curry III. You can follow the podcast at Arts Block Podcast. If you are listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, please give me a 5-star and a review. You can just say that this is the greatest podcast you have ever heard in your life, and that will suffice. If you are listening to this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can be notified every time we post a podcast. Remember that artists never die. God loves you. I love you. Do something that you love every single day. Do it with meaning, do it with purpose, do it with passion, do it well, do it with love. I'm gonna see y'all when I see y'all, boys. Peace and love. I am out.
This is culturally inappropriate.